Hello, everyone. I am looking forward to another podcast with Elke. For today, we decided to address the so called dark forces. This is a subject that is very deep and has many layers to it. For now, we will focus on the non physical dark forces like energies and entities. And in the next podcast, we will talk about dark magic. So, welcome, Elke. How are you doing?
Hello and welcome, beautiful Jutta and my beautiful friends. And indeed, this subject is very deep. So I am going to try to explain it in as simple terms as possible and a bit general. So if you have, after the podcast, have anything that you want us to go in deeper, explain a little more in depth, or whatever the case may be, please leave it in the comments. Let us know about it. And so we can really focus on what is important to you and on the questions that you have. But for now, it's really about, well, starting this subject. And there's so much stuff about dark forces. And of course, there are physical, quote unquote, dark forces, non physical, quote unquote, dark forces. And I'm saying, quote unquote, for a specific reason, because it's always a perception. So to get into this from the beginning, let's start from when you are born. So when the little one comes into the physical. So you are a baby or you are coming in from a very high frequency, lower your frequencies down to be able to come to integrate part of yourself, not all, because the body wouldn't be able to handle it. You lower part of you, your focus, your consciousness down to enter the body as your beautiful vessel, as your beautiful instrument through which you express your presence and experience. Well, only without it, you wouldn't be able to experience what is available on the planet to the fullest. And then you bring yourself down into the womb, and the baby is born. And you might ask yourself, why is she telling that? What does that have to do with dark forces, right? So let me explain. So you might be aware that babies, little ones, more or less, so babies, for all of them, it's true. You might have seen little babies laying on their back, of course, and looking around with their eyes wide open and looking at something that for you does not exist. And they are giggling and communicating in a sense. And what happens is they are very much still connected, of course, with their higher levels and their entourage that are always there. These are the angelic, archangelic, and other beings that surround them, then guide them, and you have them as well. Everyone has them. And they are very much communicating with them. So, in a sense, they are still with one foot in the non-physical, and then of course the part is in the physical, or not with one foot, of course. Your presence is in there fully, but you are still, the baby is still open for the non-physical. And the entourage is surrounding you as a baby, and of course when you grow up and as another adult as well. So the more you grow up, the more you are conditioned by the physical, by your parents, by teachers, whatever the case may be. And the more you lose your connection, your how you perceive, or that you even perceive, the non-physical. So in a sense, your entourage becomes further away from you. They are not as close. So growing up, let's say a child is 4, 5 years old, that's usually when it happens, that they run to their parents, and especially when it gets dark, and they say, "Oh, mom, dad, there is something in my closet," or there is something at in the corner, at the wall, wherever, right? And then the parents go in, switch on the light, and there is nothing. And then they get told, well, there is nothing. You are imagining that, and you have to focus on what is real, blah, 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 blah. Or if they are somewhat open, but not really open, then they project fear. So they say, well, you have to be careful, and this is something to be afraid of, whatever the case may be. So it's either it's not happening, or it's something to be afraid of. So you are taught as a kid, well, it's something to be afraid of. And then your entourage, of course, is there as well. So this gets basically put into the same corner. Everything that's non-physical is something to be feared, because it's either not real or it's to be feared. And then usually most are closing down their perception of the non-physical more and more and more, until they don't perceive it anymore. It's all completely focused on the physical. And what's happening now, and of course there's sometimes when a house might be quote unquote haunted, so where there's energy that you can feel, right? That's still feeling, for most, is still open until it's shut down as well. And so everything that is out of being touched or understood with the mind is either not there or it's dark. So there's where it starts. So it must be something negative, something to be feared, something that cannot be understood. So let's go into it, because right now, what's happening on the planet as the paradigm shifts, more and more grown-ups, adults, are opening, their senses are opening up. The third eye is opening up, because the energies are higher and higher that come in, and the veils are getting thinner and thinner. So now someone that is very much focused and grounded in the physical is seeing something that's not supposed to be there, or that is supposed to be dark and to be feared. So they can see, let's say, orbs or their entourage. But of course, it has to be feared, so that must be something dark. And there is, of course, entities, energies that are denser and that are perceived as dark. So these are mostly In the case of entities, beings, soul fragments that have died either by force, were murdered, were in an accident, whatever, or died and were perceiving they would go to hell, so they didn't go what many perceive as the tunnel, so they didn't go further into the light or wherever they were going. Many, many years ago, most were going into the astral planes according to their perceptions, their beliefs. They were ending up according to their belief systems. So those entities that are still there in the physical and now can be perceived by many are beings that actually are lost. And they are afraid to move on. Either they are afraid to stop existing, which is the biggest one, or they are afraid they will go to hell because of stuff they have done during their lifetimes, or they are simply not aware that they have died. That's when in a house, let's say, doors are opening and closing, or something is just there, but you cannot see it. That's maybe some person that had been killed and still believes they are living, and they are going about their day-to-day chores in the house while you are living there. So they are in a different reality. They don't even perceive you, but they are still there. And some people are able to perceive this, to feel, to see that there is something else. So that's where it's really, as I say, there is so many layers to it, so many aspects. So that's one point. That's the one, they are in a different reality. They still believe they are living, they are going about their life, or they are so-called demons, dark forces that pretend to be either higher, that want to get you into fear, that even try to invade your body. These are still entities that are lost, but they can see you. And as you are opening, and they realize that you can see them as well or perceive them according to where you are, of course, they are attracted by you. So first they try to get you into fear because that's where they are getting their energy from. They try to tell you they are higher beings and you have to follow what they tell you or else. Or they may try to violate your body, be it male or female, by sexually abusing your body. And of course, that makes the one experiencing it go into fear. So the fear actually makes you vulnerable to it. So far, Jutta, does this make sense? So it's really, there's so many aspects of this. Does this make sense so far?
Yes, it makes sense because I sometimes heard about these dark forces. But what is astonishing me is that some people are, how can I say, Yeah, they have fear to be confronted with them, and some people not. What makes the difference?
Well, the difference makes is literally, do you know who you are? And do you know nobody and nothing can really harm you as yourself,
Okay.
within yourself, or through yourself? So, of course, your body can be quote unquote harmed. It can be killed. The mind can be harmed, but they are your tools. But you are eternal. You are consciousness. You can never die. You cannot be harmed. Your consciousness is not harmable. So, of course, they can try, but as a being that is very well aware of who they are, they vibrate at a such high frequency that you are simply not a target for those entities. Of course, you may be able to perceive them and address them and send them to the light or home, actually, but you know they have no power over you. And there is, of course, most that are taught that you have to fear anything that is out of the ordinary, that is quote unquote not normal. Because only what is said is only what you can touch, what you can feel, what you can reason about, that is real. But now the energies are so high that humanity is opening up to so much more, that there is so much more. It's not that it has vanished, it's always been there, right? It's all encodements of consciousness, and those beings were always there. Your entourage is always there. Those entities that have been lost, and they are all lost. They have lost their connection to themselves, and now they try to get the energy from those they fear. Or sometimes, yeah, when you see them, you are able to perceive them. They are simply coming to you for the reason that you bring them and send them home. When they feel okay, you are not afraid, you know who you are, they feel your light, they feel your love, they feel the light, the beauty that you emanate, and they realize they have been lost. So they are attracted to you and you can see them, and then it's your job to send them home. So it's really about, as this is opening up, more and more will open up until everyone on this planet will realize that there is so much more than the physical. As I say, it's always been there. It just has been shut out of perception. So we are opening up our perception again to the fact that there is so much more. So one thing is you go into fear. And then those entities, by whichever way, shape, or form, they try to get you into fear, into perceiving that they can harm you or that they have power over you. Okay. And then there is, of course, and I'm feeling your question, Jutta, those that are not even aware of those entities, those that are quote unquote possessed. So how is it possible, and or even how is it possible to get possessed? Or it's like many call it split personalities, right? One minute there's this beautiful, kind soul expressing themselves through the body, and the other minute there's some whatever completely different person in the same body. How is this possible? So it happens to possessions, quote unquote, happen when your body vibrates at a very low frequency, meaning you are in fear, you are consuming drugs, alcohol, whatever the case may be, where you go into a state of where you're basically leaving your body wide open to those entities, because you are going somewhere else. When you're drunk, it's like, well, the mind takes over, you are gone somewhere else, right? Because you are trying to run away from something through drugs, through alcohol. The body is left open, even in fear. Can you feel when your body goes into fear, how you are going into hiding? The body instantly lowers its frequency, and you are going someplace where you can feel safe. And the body is wide open to being, quote unquote, taken over by another being. It means you are not in the body, or you are so afraid to address something that you let some entity in to address those situations you don't want to look at, that you are running from. So when the body is at a certain frequency, it's around 45,000 hertz, a vortex at the back of the brain opens. It's an energetic vortex where they can come in and basically take over part of your brain, part of your mind. And then you either go into hiding most of the time, or in specific situations where you are too afraid to face them. And that's what we call split personalities or possession. And it's literally when you are missing. That's when it happens. When you are in fear, when you try to, well, when you are in so much pain that you try to hide from reality. It's not that these entities and energies per se have any power over you. It's the state of being that you are in. Going back to Jutta's question, why are some people, well, they simply go not into fear, they cannot be harmed by those entities. And why are some falling prey to them? That's the reason. The reason is you are missing. The reason is you perceive someone, something, some entity has power over you. You go into fear and you perceive yourself to be less than. That's what many try to tell you. They are so advanced, there are some advanced being that is telling you what to do because you are just a lowly human and they know better than you. Which I find very funny. Because humanity is, in truth, very advanced, consists of very advanced beings that have the courage to come to this planet. So did this answer your question somewhat, Jutta?
Yeah, well, I think it shows me that being conscious of myself and care for myself becomes more and more important nowadays, and keeping my own power as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So as more and more are opening up, as I say, to sum it up, those entities, energies, thought forms, demons, it's really a combustion of energy that is still playing out that situation that is going on there, right? It's it's still there. It has always been there. Are you open to perceive it? And humanity is opening up more and more to these things, simply because it's time now to let them go, to send them home, and to step into your own power. And you said, yes, being aware of myself, self-care, what it means really at any time, being in the now moment, being in your presence, knowing who you are, and increasing the frequency of the body, feeling yourself becoming lighter, letting go of all the density of all the fear, because fear is what keeps you dense, what keeps you away from yourself, and what gives perceptively other beings and even other people power over you, because you give them power. So it's all about taking a deep breath and knowing, well, okay, my body is harmable, my mind can be harmed, but I am consciousness. I am eternal. I cannot be harmed. I ask myself, within myself and through myself, I am that I am. I am who I am. I am. I am isnness. I am consciousness. Consciousness is eternal. Consciousness is love. Consciousness is light. And the only thing that is real is me. So why, as myself, within myself and through myself, would I give in to fear? Fear is created by the mind, as it is afraid of the unknown. I am here to find out more about myself. I am here to grow and expand. I'm not here to go into fear, to let myself be made less than. Of course, it's all an experience. But you came here to experience it, to see it, to realize, to transcend it, and to say, okay, I've been there, done it. I've worn the t-shirt, and this is not in alignment with myself. This is not what I enjoy. This has nothing to do with me, so it's time to move on. I'm not going to play there anymore. I'm not giving that any energy anymore. And what I mean by that is coming back to yourself, integrating your presence, your higher levels, becoming yourself, your higher levels, knowing that everything happens for you, that nothing can harm you, and of course being aware of those presences, of those lost entities, of those energies that are around you, that feed off of fear. Then looking at them and, okay, I am consciousness, I'm eternal, I have enough power, I don't need any power from anybody else, but these beings are there because they are asking me to send them home. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if they try to get you into fear, well, okay, great. Well, if you try to, and I know, I mean, especially if an entity, you feel it within your body, they are entering your body automatically the body goes into fear, into survival, right? Then it's about coming back to yourself, increasing the frequency of the body, and telling that entity and commanding it to leave and sending it home. So of course, the initial reaction always is fear. Because I'm hearing you, well, Elke, you're saying that, and that sounds so easy, but if you're in that situation, that's not that easy. And I know it's not easy. It goes with everything. It's the question and the decision that you have to make for yourself and within yourself. Am I going back to fear, or do I come back to myself and know who I am and know I have the power to send that other entity, that other being home? They have no power over me. I got enough power of my own, and they have enough power of their own, so they don't need any energy or power from me. So do I come back to myself, to the knowingness of who I am, or am I going into fear? And I'm not saying it's easy, but that's the way you get rid of them. You can see them, you can acknowledge them, you can even communicate with them, because they want to tell you their story, right? When they see, okay, this person, this human is not going into fear, well, ask them, why are you here? What do you want from me? And if they still try to get you into fear, well, send them home. But that's also okay. Are you of the light? Are you of love? Anything that is not of light, is not welcome here. But I'm gonna do an experience where we are going to send them home. But for you, the most crucial part is, do not go into fear. As I say, it's not easy, but it's the only way. Or even I've met a few that see those beings, those lost entities, and they feel bad for them. And they somehow try to save them by giving them energy. Right? And more come and take your energy, and you feel drained. They are there, they are lost. They are there for you to send them home, not to feel bad for them. Because their higher levels have sent them to you, because you can see them, you can feel them, because they are waiting for that part of themselves to come home. And that's, for now, what I feel is there to share. Jutta, do you have anything else that you want to add or want me to add?
No, no, I don't want to add any more because I think you all said about not going into fear, take care of yourself, enjoy your life, and yeah, then you can enjoy everything.
Yeah, let's of course enjoying. See, those that are in depression, that are having alcohol, drug problems, whatever, they are very far from enjoying their life. The first step is really becoming aware of, okay, I am more than I perceive myself to be. And now I'm going to integrate myself, and others do not have power over me. And then, of course, we have to go into changing perspective, that this planet is not a prison planet, that it is what you perceive it to be. And then we go step by step by step by step, releasing all those perceptions, all those decisions you have made about humanity, reality, the planet, and what's going on, releasing that, coming back to yourself, and that's where you start to enjoy your life. So, yes, of course, enjoy your life to the fullest as much as possible. Focus on that brings you joy, that calls to your heart to the best of your ability. This is a step by step process, and you, just by doing the best you can and knowing there is so much more, and you are so much more than just the mind and the body, is all that's needed. Calling in your entourage to assist you, calling in and integrating your higher levels to take command so you don't have to manage everything, because you don't have to. You are here to enjoy, truly, and Jutta is right. Let your higher levels take command. Let your higher levels, your entourage, show you who you are, what you enjoy, and let them show you that you have all the power, and nothing but nothing but nothing and no one can truly harm you. You as yourself, within yourself, and of course, through yourself. As the love, the beauty, the consciousness, the purity, and the magnificence that you and only you are. Because you are very special, you are very unique, and you are you. And I truly honor you, I love you, and thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here and being you, my friends. Love you all. Until next time.